Alright guys, it is January 30th, 2021. Originally I wasn't going to make a video on this, but as I was cleaning around here, I thought to myself, why not? So this plant here you see is tapioca, also known as cassava. It's got many different names out there. It's just up to where you stay and what folks around your area refer to them as. As you can see here, I've got over 100 of them planted out here, and the way that they're planted are from cuttings actually, or branches if you prefer to call them that. But you can see here I've got 3 of them in the ground. So there's one here, and one there. The reason that they're planted that way is what you harvest from this plant are its roots, basically. I guess some would refer to them as corms, but I think they're more like roots. And when it's time to harvest, I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. But for now, this video is going to be on how they grow. So I would say harvesting time would be the best, maybe around 8 months. Some folks prefer to pull it out earlier, some folks prefer to pull it out later. But if you pull it out later, it becomes pretty starchy. The edible part of the plant becomes pretty hard and kind of chalky. But if you pull it out pretty young, the plant won't reach its full potential in size, and you won't get too much to eat. These guys will grow to probably about 10 feet tall, and they'll grow straight up. So I've got them in the ground. If you look over here, they're slanted at about a 45-degree angle, and you probably could lay them down a little further. The reason for that is this plant, when it starts rooting, the more roots you get into the ground, the more of a chance you get of having some edible roots to eat. And once again, we'll look at that when it comes time to harvest. But I wanted to start this video so you can see what it looks like right now, because as time goes, it will grow pretty fast. I love this plant because weeding isn't a problem when it gets to a certain point. So as soon as this plant starts creating a canopy, it will effectively cut off the sunlight from the rest of the floor, and other plants won't get enough light to be able to grow. So that makes weeding very, very easy, and that's another reason to grow these pretty close together, because once they start bushing out, they create a great canopy to cut off the sunlight from the floor, so that you don't have to worry about weeding. Don't plant them too close though, because they do need space to get those roots to stretch out and grow to their full potential. We'll come back in the future, maybe within a couple of months, to see what these guys look like, so I can show you the dynamics of the plant. Once again, I am no plant expert, but I do know a fair amount of the plants that I work with, because I've been working with them pretty much all of my life. So see you guys in a couple of months when these guys get a couple of feet taller. It's April 3rd, 2021, and here we are back at the cassava plants. I've seen a couple videos since then, just random videos I'd come across on YouTube, and this plant is also commonly referred to as the yucca. So as I said, it just depends on where you live, and what folks in your area refer to this plant as. On the last clip, as you saw, they were really a fraction of this size, maybe a tenth. The plants now are all over 5 feet tall, and some of them, like you see here and right here in front of me, are 7-footers. So we'll kind of walk through here and take a look at what I meant by the canopy. So if you look down in here, you can see that you can't even see the floor. As a matter of fact, you can barely see it. But when the plant does that, it effectively cuts off the sunlight from all the weeds that grow beneath it. And I've been so anxious to have the plants get to this point, because it's a pain in the butt to kind of keep weeds off of your plants and your crop. But once it does this, it's perfect. And I'm happy to see that these cassava plants are doing really beautifully, and I can't wait till it's time to harvest. But this is what I mean when it comes to planting plants. All you need to do is pretty much put them in the ground, and once they're there, the only thing to do after that is wait. Of course, there's always a little maintenance required with taking care of these plants, but that is nothing compared to the feeling you get when it's time to harvest. So I think I've got probably a few different, I'm not sure, but we do have a few different varieties of cassava out here. But I may have some mixed varieties in here, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I like all the varieties. They're all pretty good. Some tend to have yellow flesh after it's cooked. Some tend to have white flesh and a softer texture to the actual root itself. But in my opinion, they're all really delicious, so it doesn't matter too much to me. The planting experience is where I benefit the most. So I love planting plants, and it's not that I look forward to consuming these plants. I look forward to how they actually turn out. I get that sense of accomplishment when it comes to things like this. That's what matters to me, is the sense that I know what I'm doing, and I've been doing it for as long as I have been doing it, and it turns out great. So I don't know, there's a little bee hanging out right here along the stem, and I'm not sure what he's after, if there's anything in there. As I always say, I'm no professional, but I don't know if these are little shoots that they're going to shoot out, because as you can see here, this is the leaf stem right here. So these definitely aren't new leaves. They could be branches, because these do tend to branch out when they get taller, and it's only been 3 months since planting, and they are all already over 5 feet tall. I mentioned that we'll come back in about 6 months to harvest these guys, but I think I'm leaning more towards 8 months, so that'll be around late August, maybe mid-August to early September when we're going to harvest these guys. So we still got a ways to go, but as I always say about time, all we have is time. All we got to do is leave it out here and let it do its thing, and we'll come back when it's time to harvest. As for now, I'm happy to show you guys the progress and how the plant is growing so far. I know the video seems incomplete because I haven't showed you the harvesting portion, but we'll get there. We'll pick back up right here on the side of this little spot, because I had some of these cassavas that were growing outside of the fence, and the hogs did get to them a couple of days ago. So let's go see what the roots look like when they're still small. Alright, so here we are at the opposite side of the fence, and right outside, right along here, as you can see, this cassava plant is on the outside. I had some cassavas growing out here, maybe about 30 of them, and as you can tell, there's nothing left. That's because the hogs had taken them all. You can kind of see where they've been digging around here, and you can still kind of see remnants of the tapioca roots that are still in the ground here. So this is a miniature version of what we'll be harvesting here in the next couple of months. And the hogs, you can see this one here, well, it's a pretty good one, as a matter of fact. So they were getting pretty big really fast. As I said, this soil here is very, very rich, because we've had some mulch that just stayed here and wound up composting. It seems pretty dry right now, but it's been raining really well in the past couple of weeks, and this is actually pretty big for the amount of time that they've been in the ground. So it's only been about, as a matter of fact, almost completely 3 months, and this is what the root looks like. This is what the hogs are after. I'm almost tempted to take a bite out of it, but I don't want to wind up getting sick. But you can see there how it breaks pretty easily, and as I've said, this is what the hogs are out here for. This stuff, it's like candy to them. They can't resist just taking a bite out of these things. So he's probably gonna come back right here, but I'm gonna go take this and put this in the hog trap, and we'll see what that does for him. If we continue to look around here, you can see, you know, more remnants of the cassava. Right here is another root. You know, it's kind of a sad thing to see, but at the same time, it was totally expected with him being outside the fence. That concludes this video. So we'll come back in about 6 months, maybe around, like I said, around mid-August to early September, and we'll harvest these guys then. But as for now, that's all we've got. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you again on the next video.